Hey guys, welcome back to the Cult Classic Kids Show, and just got done watching the Xbox event on live stream with y'all, and yeah, that was pretty much like watching a turd come out of someone's ass in slow motion. It sucked, but before I go to bed, since I gotta get up tonight and go make the moonies, but I thought, hell, Kotaku just released an article. Oh my god. And it's exactly what I've been anticipating because Kotaku's going to do Kotaku things. They're so predictable. And so we got to do one of my favorite pastimes, which is dunk on game journals, baby, because Kotaku out here defending Sweet Baby Inc. Oh my god. And they say Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what some gamers think it does, immediately undermining the gamer, if it be to make us out to look dumb or to make us out to look disingenuous. And he said, no, one company isn't forcing diversity into all your favorite video games. And no one said that one company was. It's just that this is the specific company that is being discussed amongst gamers on Twitter and how we do not like what they're about. It's fairly simple. And they are indeed forcing DEI. Hell, there's plenty of developers, companies, event curators. The GDC is having advocacy basically seminars at the GDC, basically pushing stuff like DEI, but also even pushing stuff like global warming. They want to help developers be able to adequately put global warming narratives into video games. These people are disingenuous. These people are completely politically motivated. These people are insane. But Kotaku wants to act like we're the ones that are disingenuous. And they go on to say, Sweet Baby Inc. is not the largest narrative design company in the games industry. And hell, I definitely intend to uncover and talk about them all at some point. It said, nor is it solely responsible for the characters and stories in recent high-profile releases. Alan Wake 2, God of War Ragnarok, and Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. But good luck telling some gamers that. And that's facts. There's definitely, I'm sure, plenty of developers that want to force these types of narratives into their video games. I'm sure that there's developers and even the companies themselves that co-signed it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hired Sweet Baby Inc. to begin with to curate, to look over their work. Duh. And they said last month, one of the company's consultants discovered a Steam group dedicated to detecting games that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on, which, mind you, once again, nothing wrong with that at all. And the purpose to encourage people to avoid those games because the group had deemed Sweet Baby Inc. was pushing a quote-unquote woke agenda by working towards greater diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI. And at the end of the day, all this dude did was make a group. That's it. And hey, the thing is, the mass majority of gamers don't want DEI, politics, forced nonsense into their video games. So naturally, a bunch of gamers were going to join this group and felt like, oh, this is actually a good thing. Wow. That's just what it is. At the end of the day, we just don't want your woke nonsense in our video games. It's really that simple. And the Steam group now has more than 100,000 followers and its own Discord that boasts nearly 2,000 members. But this ire against Sweet Baby Inc. and DEI initiatives in general isn't new. No shit, Sherlock. Yo, Kotaku over here like stating the obvious like they're geniuses or something. Oh my gosh. And is it new? A October 2023 Kiwi Farms post shares similar sentiments, stating that the company's involvement in Remedy's award-winning 2023 action game Alan Wake was possibly one of the biggest scandals in gaming history. What? That is so wild. And it's like, of course, they gotta announce the one that wins, the major awards, because I mean, it's not like. It's not like Jeff Keighley and them over at the Game Awards is involved in this nonsense either. When it is promoted in the industry at the forefront, of course these types of games are going to win these awards. No shit, Sherlock. That's why The Last of Us Part 2 won over Ghost of Tsushima, stuff like that. These people get off to this nonsense, this forced, agendas that are in gaming, that are in all of entertainment at this point in the West right now. They said the conversation around Sweet Baby Inc. has ignited a fundamental misinformed Gamergate-esque firestorm. And look, the only people that are misinformed about Gamergate are the actual journalists, because they were actually trying to cover up that, they were indeed not doing what they needed to do, extremely biased, doing nefarious things, and they were exposed for it, and they still won't admit it to this day. They bring up Gamergate every time to act like, oh, it was the gamers that were the bad ones, when it's like, no, you guys got caught in the industry being sus. And they say its employees have faced rampant harassment as a direct result. One of their employees literally violated Twitter's code of conduct and targeted the Steam curator to essentially have their account terminated and the actual curation page, removed. So, you're not going to talk about that. Industry figures have had to deny allegations that Sweet Baby Inc. comes in and completely changes their games. I spoke with nobody's saying that they completely changing the games. Nobody's necessarily saying that. You're posturing disingenuously here. We know that they are definitely influencing DEI in video games. How far and extreme does it go? I don't know. We don't know. We don't have answers to this, but at the end of the day, Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement in video games is not something the mass majority of gamers want. I spoke with several employees of Sweet Baby Inc. to learn that the company actually does and how the misunderstanding of its roles in the industry highlights a far broader problem. Here we fucking go. And how dare you, Kotaku, how dare you include Shift Up's Great Eve in this garbage article, by the way. What bad actors think companies like Sweet Baby Inc. do. And here, this is all this posturing. It's almost like Gamergate all over again. Like, it's crazy how things keep repeating themselves. They're purposely they're basically representing gamers in this because they need the lies to be true. That's really what it is at the end of the day. They said the games industry has had its fair share of struggles lately, from massive layoffs to wildly expensive games like Suicide Squad falling short of expectations. According to the loudest members of Sweet Baby Inc. detected Discord, the company is directly responsible for those failures, not the studios that employed them in the first place, because of the content Sweet Baby Inc. allegedly forces into games. And look, man, Suicide Squad's garbage characters, garbage dialogue is one of many reasons why Suicide Squad failed. And that's the thing that Sweet Baby Inc. was responsible for. The dialogue, the comedy that wasn't really present at all. That's what they were responsible for in Suicide Squad in particular, and that was definitely one of the very negative aspects of the game. And to sit here and deny that, well, you're a disingenuous prick, Mr. Kotaku person. Actually, let's see who this clown is, because where can I see? Here we go. Alyssa Mercanti, and they're hiding their face. Oh, that's funny. Senior editor at Kotaku, FPS Freak, Cat Rescuer, Spritz Drinker. Oh, I think I know this clown. Yeah, I remember this clown. She actually changed her picture. Yo. All right, let's see their Twitter. Oh my god, what the hell is even that? Looking so cute. Fucking clown. Oh my gosh. Obviously, the pronouns in the bio. The typical giveaways to a clown, But to continue on, Kyle Rowley, says it's absolutely not true. Who is this clown? We just have a bunch of clowns. All right, game director of Alan Wake 2. Gotcha. The prevailing theory is that if it weren't Sweet Baby, Saga Anderson would have been portrayed as a white woman. Is that true? You mean she would have been portrayed as originally what she was? Because Saga Anderson was originally a white woman. I believe that her model is featured in a CGI trailer or something of Control. I can't remember exactly the details, but Saga Anderson existed prior to Alan Wake 2, and Saga Anderson was originally a white woman. I'm sure that, for example, with this situation, I'm sure that it definitely was the Alan Wake devs that decided to race swap the character, because it's like they need to have a certain group. They have to have their groups represented in games because they're afraid of being called racist or something or other. And yeah, that's just what they do at this point. And if it's impossible to say, but does it matter? It does matter, because I mean, it goes to show that it is disingenuous. This stuff is typically either out of fear or out of blatant stupidity. You should have just maybe used an entirely different character. I don't really know all the details as to the Alan Wake franchise. I've only played Control, and I like Control. I don't think I would like Alan Wake in terms of its gameplay and narrative, really, but could have just used a different character or something or other, but instead you had to race swap, which is a stupid thing that seems to happen quite a bit in not just, video games, but in movies, TV shows, cartoons. It is completely unnecessary. They said even games that are widely considered to be successes are not safe from those conspiracy theories. Alan Wake 2 game developer Kyle Rowley from X, and he said, dispels rumors that Sweet Baby Inc. was the reason protagonist Saga Anderson was black. Rumor first traced back to the aforementioned October 2023 Community Farms post. And look, man, because of what Sweet Baby Inc. does, what they're responsible for, of course, everyone's going to call everything that is disingenuous into question. Are they responsible for it? Or was the developers responsible for it? Apparently the developers are taking responsibility for that one, because he's saying it's absolutely not true. But Rowley's concise statement and similar ones made by other industry members have not silenced the conspiracy theorists. And this isn't a conspiracy theory. People want answers, and they're going to ask questions. And that's just what it is. On March 5th, I managed to spend an hour or so in the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Discord before I was booted from the space. Yeah. Likely because I identified myself as a Kotaku journalist. In it, membership. This is their idea. What's hilarious? So there was days when there were actual real journalists that would, go out and participate in some crazy events that I would be scared to take part in, such as war-related, all sorts of investigative journalism where, journalists would put themselves at risk. Journalists in modern day think infiltrating the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Discord is investigative journalism that puts their livelihood at risk, I bet. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. In it, members shared posts referencing Feminist Frequency founder Anita Sarkeesian, Marcus Larius quotes, and pictures of idolized female bodies in games. One image showed several pictures of the protagonist Eve from Korean developer Shift Up's upcoming action game Stellar Blade. Just post against female characters from Overwatch, Forspoken, and Life is Strange. Embrace tradition, reject modernity is emblazoned on the collage. Hey, so what you're saying is that these are just everyday gamers that you guys absolutely cannot stand, but they're just the everyday average gamer that is just in it for the games, for the memes, having fun together in their Discord. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Of course, you think this is probably a crime against humanity, but this just means that, they're just up to gamer shit, which is cool. Almost 2K members. There are already a bunch of infiltrated, sick people here, screenshotting everything, sadly. So just keep it cool, brothers. We can't let this server or the Steam group get taken down. That's all I ask. Keep it cool. Read a post from March 4th, which was shared again in March 5th. Several people in the Discord expressed concerns about glowies in terms of coined by members of the far right for those suspected of being federal law enforcement officials or their informants attempting to infiltrate their online spaces and get them up for legal consequences. And I mean, hey man, authoritarianism exists. Authoritarianism is the thing. There's definitely a lot of nefarious parties that are involved in government that definitely don't like that we have a voice. That is one of the biggest sentiments in modern day, really, that is expressed constantly. He said, 2 members that spoke to me via Discord DM shared similar sentiments about why they believe the Steam page and subsequent Discord are important, so they can identify games that were developed with support from Sweet Baby Inc. And so, so you mean that they sound sane, and yeah, they just want to know what games that they were involved in and make an informed decision when purchasing them. Sweet Baby Inc. is a symptom of other ideological worldviews that I believe have taken hold of the Western world, media, and gaming as a whole, a 31-year-old member of the Discord told me. He also insisted, without providing evidence, that Sweet Baby Inc. adds race and identity group quotas to everything they are involved in. And look, man, Sweet Baby Inc. as well as these developers and these companies entirely so. I mean, for example, in other forms of entertainment, you have the Oscars, all these award-winning shows that say the one way you can qualify is that you have to have this percentage of Black people, this percentage of LGBT, like this percentage, like that's how pathetic this all is. It has, by design, it has to be just taken into account entirely around the premise of race and all these other things in order to even be qualified to win awards. So by default, a lot of the stuff is indeed not genuine. None of it's genuine. Come on, let's be real now, guys. Sweet Baby Inc. isn't forcing diversity. It's happening naturally. No, it's not. Otherwise, if it was happening naturally, then there wouldn't have to be quotas for this shit. There wouldn't have to be a Sweet Baby Inc. to exist. That's just the reality of it. It's not natural. It's being forced. It's being, without, basically, it's being shoveled into all these entertainment spaces, and people are rejecting it, and, well, you guys got to fight back, and blah, blah, blah. All this nonsense. DEI, that is disingenuous, that is indeed forced, whether you want to admit to it or not, is unwanted. People see right through it. The way when you watch video games or films, like if you look at Forspoken, to sit here and be like, oh yeah, that feels completely like, natural. You're a lying sack of shit. Let's be real now. Stuff like that. And like I said, it's involved in all the entertainment spaces right now. It said, though these kinds of social media posts argue that companies like Sweet Baby Inc. somehow force game studios to include diverse characters and storylines. No, it's being forced in a sense of, see, this is where they continue to be disingenuous. They understand the issues that are being discussed and presented. They just refuse to acknowledge it genuinely. Overall, these characters are being forced and it feels unnatural. If it be from dialogue perspective, from a character perspective, the fact that you race swapping characters perspective, this is unnatural, forced diversity. It's not necessarily Sweet Baby Inc. that's forcing it in. It's these companies that are forcing it in and using Sweet Baby Inc. to try and get it over on gamers, and it just is terrible. They're garbage at their job. And they go on to say, forcing game studios to include diverse characters and storylines. The reality is vastly different. Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative design company, meaning most of its work is focused on writing stories and dialogue. They are not a DI consulting firm. That means they ensure a game plot points make logical sense. I mean, if you look on their website, they in PR terms, their goal is to certainly push diversity, inclusion. That's their PR speak. But when you actually listen to what they say, they just hate white people and particularly men. That's what, when you actually hear without the PR speak, the filters off, they just hate white people and they want less of them in game, and especially if they're men. This means to ensure a game's plot points are logical sense and are satisfying to players, which they do none of well. That characters speak and behave in consistent ways. Narrative design may also prove. Well, the only thing that's consistent with their characters and their dialogue is that it's consistently shit. Narrative designers may also provide a final round of polish, like a Hollywood script doctor. For example, the team worked on Suicide Squad long after the story was written, and even then, they joined just to write in-game ads, audio logs, and NPC barks. CEO Kim Belair tells me over video call. She continues, Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby is at its core a narrative development company. That means anything from script writing to narrative design and narrative direction to story reviews. One of the things that we do offer is cultural consultations. Okay, so they're just using PR speak for we're pushing we're consulting on DEI or authenticity consultants. For us, that generally means we might be asked to look at a story. There's a character in it who's marginalized in certain ways, and the studio wants us to connect them with a consultant who can bring a little bit of authenticity, but the perspective is never that we're coming in and injecting diversity. For the most part, it's the reverse. It's that a company has created a character and they want to make that character more representative and more interesting, and you guys do none of that even remotely well. So I guess you guys are just really bad at your job. They said Sweet Baby co-founder David Bedard added that contrary to popular belief, the people making these games want to make the experience better for all players, and that more diversity and representation is a byproduct of that. And I don't know what they're thinking, because look, man, the whole, diversity in gaming, that could definitely be cool, but the way that they're doing it doesn't feel genuine like it is for some other games of the past. That's just what it is. You're not winning gamers over. This doesn't feel normal. And you're just bad at what you guys do. Would rather believe that there is a shadowy cabal of people forcing them to put that stuff in. They would rather believe a make-believe fairy tale and accept that, he says, making something more representative and more joyful for a marginalized person in a video game is not a zero-sum game. And look, once again, this is just more PR speak. At the end of the day, whatever you're doing, because we don't know the exact details unless we actually can see scripts and see what Sweet Baby Inc. has done and what developers have done. We don't know all the details, but it's reason to believe, judging by your own website, that you guys are indeed trying to cover up and make what you're doing seem, like it's not that bad or whatever have you. It's somewhere in the middle at the end of the day. And given that we've seen tweets and stuff from the CEO herself, Kim Belair, of them speaking on their disdain for white people, their blatant racism and sexism, there's definitely a nefariousness to it. If it just be that you guys are racist pricks, sexist pricks, or if there's more detail than that, either way, you guys are in the wrong. You're just trying to cover your own tracks at this point, cover your own asses. And hell, you even hire people that have said insanely racist things, even towards Black people. Yeah. So, hey, man, just look at Felix's deleted tweets. But anyway, making something more representative, joyful for the marginalized person in a video game is not a zero-sum game. It doesn't make anything worse for male characters in the game, for the white character in the game. The assumption the game member, that team members in Sweet Baby Inc. or any marginalized person for that matter can only offer up content that is based on their identity is incredibly frustrating for the team. Frustrating because it's true. Clearly, we've seen actual interviews of Kim Belair, who is a Black woman, basically say that she's been obsessed since as a child with writing herself in everything that she does, pretty much, or the majority of things that she does, and that's what makes her happy, as opposed to when she used to have to write white characters, or she felt as though she had to write in white male characters. That made her apparently unhappy or miserable to whatever extent. But writing herself in the work that she's doing was something that felt very important to her. Blatant narcissism to an extreme degree. And people can't imagine that we might be doing anything else but DEI. Belair says they can't imagine that we're just talented writers. You haven't even proven that yet. And we're talented narrative designers, and that people are hiring us because we tell good stories, because we collaborate well, and because we write video games. And not to mention also when these companies don't really want to seek out their help with their narratives and their character writing and scripts, that they go to advertisers and scare the advertisers. Yes, Kim Belair herself says this. They say the quiet parts out loud, guys. That's how bold that they are. They're not afraid. They're extremely bold in getting what they want. But basically, yes, scaring advertisers into accepting basically their quote unquote work, or what they think is good work. And because we collaborate well, and because we write video games, they have to diminish our accomplishments to our identities. No, you guys make that your obsession. You make your identity your own obsession. We've seen it. We've witnessed it. And you make your hatred of opposing identities also your obsession. They can't imagine that the work I did on Spider-Man was story work versus adding pride flags. And, and look, man, it's not, to me, the pride flags are the least of the issues. I mean, it's all disingenuous at the end of the day. It's all to meet the, your quotas and whatnot. But the narrative fucking sucks balls too. Well, I mean, what are you saying here? You think that, the narrative is at least better than the gay pride flags? Huh? Spider-Man 2 is indefinitely a worse game from a narrative perspective than Spider-Man 1. That is a fact. Whether you want to believe it or not, your work, unfortunately, has led to a worse product in the department that you work in from the narrative perspective. Even there's a bunch of my friends that are Spider-Man fanatics, and that even said, there's some things about the story that's kind of very questionable, not good, not consistent, or there's other people that are also saying, I like the gameplay, but the story's ass. And then there's people that just hate the game entirely. But this is Kotaku coming to the full defense force of Sweet Baby Inc. because, man, Gamergate 2.0 is on, and they're using some of the same exact tactics that they've used in the past. That's why we must look to the past to see the nonsense that they pulled and to assist us in basically exposing these losers for the bullshit that they're up to. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this. If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me over on Twitter or Kick if you'd like to continue the conversation. And guys, while being said, I'm out. Peace.